So that's why we're here. We're traveling around. We are spending a lot of time we spent a lot of time in the South because we wanted to kind of put the last 50 years since the March on Washington in perspective. And so we went to Selma, where it kind of started. We went to Montgomery. We're going to spend more time in Selma and Montgomery. But we're talking to people in the African American community, in the white community, and just seeing if they would be willing to have a dialogue with one another. Because they're talking to us.
Right.
But they're not talking to each other.
Well, that's normal. I mean, that's a part of the main problem is that communication between the said races in our community or within our country. It's like we don't really know a lot about one another or one another's perspective. So it's kind of like you have race wars or feuds or beefs, whatever you want to call them, that go on for years and years and years, and a lot of it is out of ignorance or out of what is rumored to be or stereotypes, and I agree, it's really silly.
Exactly. And so the thing that's really powerful to me is how so much of social change is really literally social, so that you and I deciding that we want to talk to people that we've been made to be afraid of or alienated from.
Right.
If we choose to do that.
Oh, we'll see. We're all in the same boat then.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Thank you so much. Exactly.
That's why a lot of effort to keep that from happening.
Right, and that's why the fear is so perpetuated.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to introduce to you my crew, my fam. Come on, y'all. It's that Byler song. Let's go. Ella, reppin' that, Detroit City. Come on, get your hands up, y'all. Come on, yeah. Let's go. It's the Ella, y'all. Reppin' that, Detroit City. Get your hands up. Come on. Yeah. Let's go.
Behold the benevolent threshold, best flow east of the Mississippi. We beast when we get busy. I don't go in, it's just in me. We mashing in fashion, my passion class with fascists.
We Starfleet official and live. Thymezilla now, third member of the five. The real have arrived. The city will survive. With mothership music, throw your hands in the sky.
And don't put them down. We the king, supreme beings is dope with the sound. I mean a team with these beasts, you won't hold us down. We owning it now, showing it wild, holding the ground.
Now we soaring over cities in spring, bringing Detroit to every human being. This is our thing, background kings. Never mind me, people listen to the hook sing.
Let's go. Yeah. Ella, reppin' that, Detroit City. Come on, get your hands up, y'all. Come on, yeah. Let's go. It's that Ella, y'all. Reppin' that, Detroit City. Get your hands up. Come on, yeah. Let's go.
His daughter has been my best friend since first grade. So around the time we were maybe in 5th grade, 6th grade, there was a friend by the name of Eric who was a close friend of mine. We just became like peas in a pod. So he eventually liked his daughter Nazla. So based on that, he had to eventually come see her father. So me, myself, I was more of a, church going, study the Bible. I wouldn't necessarily say religious, but more of spiritual at a young age. Just really trying to find, the truth of what God is and just understanding everything. So he was like, look, man, why don't you down with God? He a Muslim. I don't know what that is, but I know they believe in Allah and it's, whatever. So come over here with me and let them know I'm cool. Just let them know I'm a good guy, whatever. So I'm like, it's your battle, man. You dating the girl.
Yeah, first after he came by himself. After he couldn't come in until he get the password. And he got scared and left. He went and got the brother here.
And we had to be like maybe 12, maybe at the
13.
time.
12?
Yeah, it was young bucks.
Okay.
Like,
I was so shocked to see him walking around with books.
Right, but see,
books.
I had spiritual books, and I had been going through my, changes or just revelations about God. I was raised Baptist, so I would read the book, and I would look at the congregation, and therefore, hypocrisies. My spiritual growth and whatever, I was looking at the church like,
they're searching there.
I constantly. So by that time, I think hip hop was really into its conscious stage. So you had.
When was that?
This was like early 90s. I would probably say like 91, 90. So, hip hop being that it was in this conscious stage of, Islam and teaching. And I heard people say Assalamu alaikum. And, that word alone was like that tongue, that resonated in me. Like, what does that mean? So the study and whatever. Long story short, that's the password. So Eric and I on our way over, and I'm coming over with my books because I'm finding a brother who's a Muslim. Because I'm hearing about it in the raps or whatever, and I'm trying to find out, okay, what's the next step, or maybe this is the next level of, as far as, education and developing my spirituality, my spiritual growth, if whatever. So we come over, I let him know, Assalamu alaikum. I come in, he still couldn't pronounce it or whatever, couldn't say it, so he had to stay on the porch with Nazla. So meanwhile, our dialogue started. So I'm this 12-year-old with these, quantum mechanic type spiritual revelation, last days, yada, yada, yada. And, I'm walking in, talking to this brother, saying Assalamu alaikum, and, you can go from there.
So the understanding is that you learned about Islam, and then it influenced.
But it wasn't Islam.
It wasn't Islam.
It wasn't Islam.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
It was just what I had to do. I was a Muslim. I am a Muslim.
Okay.
Right.
I'm a Muslim now. It's the difference between a Muslim and a Muslim. I'm a Muslim now. A Muslim is the will of God. Muslims is the one who do the will of God. So it's a little higher level than. I don't want to make Muslims get mad at it, but I'm a Moor too. We all Moors.
I see.
So, and that's our indigenous history that nobody knows about.
Well, they know about, they just not telling.
Not telling. See,
us.
As slaves, they took all the knowledge away. We knew nothing. When you take children from mothers, fathers, and let them run wild with no discipline, no nothing. Then when they get 13, they mate the boys with the girls, children, nothing. I mean, that slavery was the worst slavery that ever happened on this planet. And we was a part of it. And it was a reason why it was like that. We understand we're not mad at anybody. Evidently, we did something for that karma to be on us.
Or else it wouldn't have happened.
Or it wouldn't have happened. Because the Moors ruled the world for almost 1,200 years, So we're looking at what happened. I think we forgot who we were. Start treating people without love. Mm-hmm. See, when love leaves, everything leaves. All respect, everything leaves. When you don't know where you came from, when you don't have all you know is slavery. You don't know no world besides that.
And we're taught that in our
schools.
Like first Christopher Columbus, and then they brought you here. And you hear nothing of the Moorish Empire, which we have contracts with many nations and countries that date back to, we can go back. But the reality is once our nationality was taken and we became those quote-unquote 3/5 of persons, and
NBC.
It's all written inside the Constitution, it's all lawfully documented. We took on misnomers of our slave masters. We believed that we were Negroes, that we were black. We didn't know how to read. We went to their schools. You understand?
Yeah.
So our whole nationality and our creed, especially our creed, we didn't even know how to pray. Mm-hmm. We didn't know what God to call on. Mm-hmm. All of that being taken away, you only got,
for 450 years.
That's a long time to do that to a people. And then you look at a people and say, oh, look at them, they smoking crack and acting crazy. I mean, you wonder why. Well, you look at the circumstances and you say, these people are so bad, you got to look at why. Mm-hmm. Who made them bad? Like, if they got all this negative stigma on them, where did they come from?
What happened?
What happened? No one wants to ask these questions.
So this is what our teaching was, to teach the brothers and sisters who they were, what happened, and who is God to them, and how do we reach that plateau to be one with the divine again. That's what our whole process was. Mm-hmm. I went to all the religions. Mm-hmm. All these religions, I had been at least 10, 15 years studying. That's what I did, because I had to find out who I was. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I had to study each religion and found out they all, in retrospect, it was all about love. They all was the same.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got into the Moorish organization, government, they had a book that showed us that all the religions were one.
Right. So
50,000 years ago, the religions were one, and some smart person took them and split them up and gave them everybody different religions. Mm-hmm. So everybody had one eighth, 1/6 of the whole religion. So I studied Buddhism, Hinduism, I studied Judaism, and
the Tao, Tantra, Hinduism.
All of it. We studied. We did agriculture. We were doing everything. We didn't miss nothing.
All the traditions, all the ancient traditions.
Brothers and sisters here, if they don't have no spiritual knowledge, we are pitiful because we all come to a point of running after things. And things is not real. It's all illusion anyway. So I had to find a way to get to my children. So it was like 3 in 1, but I had to teach them. I had to come out the street. So one night I just fell on the floor and started crying, asking if there's a God. I didn't believe in God. I said, if there's a God, help me.
Yeah.
So the next day, I come in and I closed my eyes and I meditated. I hadn't been to see the master yet. I started meditating. I didn't know what it was. And it frightened me. I come back, I looked around, had been going for about 45 minutes. Energy running through me. What is this? So I went, hey man, he would sit down, man, and meditated. I said, maybe leave that weed alone. I said, man, I ain't smoking, man. and so I kept doing it. It kept getting more beautiful and more beautiful.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned love. It's been the topic of the day.
That's all it's about.
Help us understand how it fits into Detroit and this community that you have here and the music that you're creating. How do you make it actionable?
We don't. Mm-hmm. God do. Mm-hmm. See, all we do is put it out there, and it's coming through us, through the divine. We know we don't take no credit for what's going on. It's a divine laws, principle to govern the universe, and now we have to accept that and do the best we can. If we do 100%, the universe will do whatever is needed left. So, in teaching the young people, I recognize that we didn't know nothing. I didn't know nothing. I looked at my children. I'm the one got to teach them. It was a record out a long time ago. It was called, it's by Young Ones. It was called Is It Too Late? That's the record, one of the records that woke me up. It talked about the strides on our back, how we would beat down as people and how we get back up. And the last part of the record was Reach for the Stars. And it was beautiful. So that got me, there was a lot of people around, but it hit me. I started going home looking at my family and seeing what I was doing. Recognized I was on the street. I was on the street like everybody else, doing everything everybody else was doing. But I had a calling. My son called me. He was 3 years old. I looked at him and I recognized I had nothing. I didn't know reality from illusion. How can you teach somebody when you don't know what a reality or illusion? You don't even know the difference. So I had to find that out and start searching within myself. And I just started crying because I know I couldn't believe in the church. I mean, I'm sorry, it just was not doing it for me because I seen nothing really happening. It's kept the same thing over and over again. There was no progress. And I looked at it and I said, well, this is not going anywhere. Not that it's right or wrong. It just wasn't taking me anywhere. So I started searching for other things. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I ran into, I said, was Maharishi Yogi. I started meditating out of nowhere and didn't know what it was. So I started searching for it. So I think they just started building Northland. That's a long time ago. And I was walking through it. It was still up there. It was 2 stores. It was a sports store and it was a Damon's bookstore. 2 stores was there. And I was walking and I seen a book. It was like calling me. So I picked it up. It said Transcendental Meditation by Maharishi Yogi. I said, maybe that's what I did. Maybe I meditated. So did nobody know? And I heard nobody knew about meditation. So I opened the book up and it said, being. What is being? And a light came through me. All I could do was fall to my knees and start crying at that point. So I knew I had a realization, a self-realization at that time. That's the second one I had. I had one in the Army. I was in Kentucky. I had got to the top of the mountain. When I turned around and looked back, I became one with everything. It was breathtaking. Again, I started crying. I was ashamed. I was by myself. I was ashamed to cry. Men don't cry. But I couldn't stop. I kept crying and crying and crying. My whole shirt was wet, crying. And I didn't know what that was, so I was afraid of it. You know, nobody telling us what we going through. It was a self-realization. So the second one I had was at that store. So I remembered I had that one. So I came back home and I got the book and I read it. But it did not tell me how to meditate. It told me what meditation does for you, but it never, so I didn't know. So I went to the library to see what I found there. So I got in there and had a book on Zen. You know Zen, right? Look in the mirror, that's the truth, that's all you need. Zen, you don't have to know, look in the mirror, that's the truth. But I wasn't that conscious to understand what the mirror in the book for. But I tell you how Allah, God works for us. I went to the library and I said, look, I want to meditate. And I came and said, you want to meditate? She reached down and put a flyer up. It said, now teaching Transcendental Meditation by Maharishi on Kirby, right across the street from the library, in 1 hour. I mean, I said, wow. So I jumped in my car, went right across the street. I ran across the street and moved it to Grosse Pointe. So I went to Grosse Pointe, got in my car, got there, and it was all European, wasn't none of us there. And during that time in 69 and 70, very few brothers and sisters were, I mean it was some, but very few were in spiritual work. When I went in there, I just, when I seen him, I was just floored, you know. Wow, yeah. And I stayed there for about 18 weeks and studied. I never looked back. It's been something in front of me all my life. And for some reason, everywhere I go, it's not me. I'm put at the top. I'm thinking how I got here. Because I don't think I deserve it. Most of the time, I just be there. So when I got home, I went out on a spiritual journey. Left my family. I was a fire inspector, Detroit Fire Department. Quit the job. I was making that time. I was making about $45,000 a year. It was about money then, but that wasn't enough for me. Couldn't be satisfied. So I went on a spiritual journey for about 6.5 years with a teacher. And I left my family, I left my job, I left everything. It was very irresponsible. But I had went to Byler, and I was praying to the Father, Mother God, and I asked, how could I leave I had to leave. He kept telling me, you gotta go. But I couldn't because I had 5 children and a wife and a lot of bills. So how could I leave? So I went to Byler, I sat there, and I asked the Father, God, I said, how can I leave? And when I said, this is real, a robin flew down to the ground right in front of me, picked the worm up, and jumped back in the tree. And then the words came to me, if I can take care of Lise, surely I can take care of you. That was it. I went home, got all my clothes, went to the fire department, and retired.
When did that happen? What year was that?
That was 1969.
So it's taking place in the context of a lot of anger and probably fear and hatred and frustration, right? So your search for spirituality, do you think that was kind of in response to what you were seeing around you? Just a sense of frustration?
I think it was destined.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think most things are destined. And if you obey your inner voice, you know, that had to happen. Everything has to happen so something else can happen. So there's no accidents, no injuries, there's no deaths, there's no nothing. All is real. Mm-hmm. But it's illusion. This whole third dimension reality is illusion. And once we could see through illusion and see into the fourth dimension, then we would be able to see. That's what we've learned. I teach you how you get to the fourth dimension, to see what's happening here and know what you have to do. We have a responsibility. Our responsibility is maintain and we bring back to love, peace, freedom, and justice. You can't change anybody, but you could be an example.
Change yourself.
And so when I got the young people here, I didn't know what it was about. They came to me and we started talking. He left. I ain't seen him for 3 years. And I was studying myself.
Yeah.
And then he came back with this brother here. And they said he wanted to learn. So he wanted to learn. So I started talking to him. He wouldn't got him. He come up to challenge me.
Is that what that was?
He came to challenge. So he said, he started talking. I said, listen to him.
What were you thinking when you heard his teachings?
Well, when I came, I don't remember I came to challenge you. But,
No, you didn't. But,
yeah,
but you was talking. I let you talk though.
Yeah, he just kind of,
No, he didn't challenge me.
asked me, what did I know? I didn't know enough to tell him I didn't know anything.
Right.
You understand me?
Feel you.
So I spoke, and I talked till I didn't have anything else. He said a few words, and I was like, I'll be back.
I would see the brother, and by the time I brought Thyme, it was because, he was the MC on the block. This is where the music comes in at. Because it was like, I'm the young one, so I'm about maybe, by the time I ran into Amin, I was like maybe 12, 13, right. Something like that. So I'm probably 8th grade, going into 9th grade, somewhere around there. So by that time, I'm getting deep into the music, and I'm interested in this rap, hip-hop thing. Like, this art form is touching me. I gotta touch this. So Thyme was the only rapper in the neighborhood, or the best one at the time. So I would go to him because he was my best friend's older brother. So that's our connection. I've known his younger brother since we were 5. So, just going right around the corner and kicking it with his, my best friend, I would see him. So through the growing up and, Thyme rhyming and, blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to get around there to get close to him to figure out how to get to the studio. What is all this about? How to write or whatever. I had a couple raps at the time. So from that, shut up. So from that, that was a situation where that's an inside joke. That's a situation where we were basically on some. I was like, give me some knowledge, because he had this book that was monumented amongst the books of books. It was called Leviathan 666. It was written by Imam Isa. So, he had this book, and I'm like, man, you got some knowledge, and I'm trying to get that book. What's up? Whatever. So the only way I could really get him to talk is if I would get him around other people. Like, it was a reverend that I knew that went to the church that I was belonging to at the time. I would bring him just so, they could get into whatever debate, and I could get the notes and take down the information, because I'm trying to get this. Like, I'm so,
That's
serious
amazing.
about.
You're so young.
Yeah.
And how much older are you?
What, 3 or 4 years?
4 years older.
Okay.
So he's 4 years my senior. So, he's big brother to me. It's like, So around that time, I was like, it's a brother around the corner. Amin, he a Muslim too, da-da-da-da-da-da. You need to come listen. Come here. Just come hear what he got to say. So that was around the time where, they finally met. And
I was impressed with the brother.
And that dialogue began.
Right. And this was just us as children just saying, nah. Whatever what you saying, my heart telling me you not right.
How do you think it's changed your life now?
I know who I am. Period. Right. I'm conscious 24/7 of my life. I know everything that I'm doing. I know everything I'm going to do. A lot of the things that we've learned, like you go to a lot of places and you get a lot of information. The information that we have has application, and then we apply. So it's not just things that we hear or that's written down. There are things that we have divine wisdom on because we have experienced them. And we live them every day. Different practices that we do every day.
See,
ancient practice.
Ancient. Yes.
And it was given to me. But I had to leave everything, sacrifice everything to get it. It's everything. My wife left, children, job, had nothing. Because I had to get this information. And I went, different countries I went to. I even went to Mecca, went to other countries to do what? To sit with the masters. There's 6 religions. When I studied each one of them at length with devotion to do what? To come and bring it back to my I was going to bring it to my children. That's what I was going for, because that's what I left here for my children. But when my son came into me that night, and I was sitting looking at him, and I had my eyes and looked up, I seen 1,000 children behind him. I said, wow. You know how you see a flash? Seen a flash and all these kids. I said, where they coming from? Had no idea. So when I started teaching, I would teach. We didn't have nothing to teach. We could sit there. I had no written down.
You just come over
and now we got a book.
No.
Because that was the main thing. It was like he had so much experience, just from the Dow through the nation, through so much. So by the time we were hungry, he could just sit down and run his mouth, and we could ask questions on a spirit level, and somehow the brother always had the answers.
Right.
It was a situation where I didn't have a dad growing up in my home. So this brother was the brother who was giving me that information in my teens, letting me know what my body was going through, how to exercise right, eat right. And that was the main thing. The first thing that affected us was so deep was our eating habits.
Right.
That was the first thing that freed us up, because once we learned how properly to observe and how to eat to live, pretty much, we reading everything. You read a Hostess, we cutting that out. We banning stuff. We cutting out Sunny Delight, or no diss to anybody who whatever. But our point was we had to observe a healthy diet, get water in our diet. You know what I mean? That changed our wave pattern thinking alone.
Vibration of our bodies.
The whole vibration of the body. So that was one of the greatest transformations, I would say, that took place first.
Right.
But it sounds like the teaching really was centered around conversation and dialogue, right?
It formed into something else.
It basically started from us looking at our situations and our conditions in the world today and wondering why black people catching so much hell and ain't nobody coming to our rescue. There's no United Nations or somebody to say, hey, stop that, or that's illegal. You see so many crimes happening against so many different nations of people. The U.S. always running across to wherever to save somebody else, and we get that same type of treatment from our own government at home. And it's the streets. We looking at this. We watching the police sell dope. We watching our sisters being taken advantage of. We watching so much our minds of our brothers and sisters being taken. The violence is at an all-time high. It's pretty much like how it is now, but you know what I mean. But at the time, it was so serious to us because we did not know why it was happening. So
this is the part I played,
and this is the part that he played. The answers, like we had so many questions.
How do you get young black men to come to you? You know what they need? They want to know about the woman. They want to know about sex. Ain't nobody teaching them. Nobody teaching. That's the secret word. Well, by learning Hinduism, I had studied Tantra at length to understand. That's a deep subject. And it's endless. And so I started teaching what I had learned about it. How to deal with the opposite sex.
Right.
How to respect your female self first.
Exactly.
Because you female.
Exactly.
Your woman is just a
reflection of yourself. Yep.
Your other self. So you treat her like you treat yourself with total respect. So we start understanding that. They start understanding what I was saying. Love her with all your heart and all your soul, and love yourself first. You can't love her until you love yourself.
That's right.
So you got to understand that's your opposite. Any woman you with, if you with two of them, they're both giving you a different perspective of your own self as your female self. People don't believe that, but that's why these brothers are so powerful. They understood. They were young enough to grasp it and then work it. They made many mistakes, I said, get your experience.
Right.
You cannot learn without experience. I could teach you, but until you go out there and get your head beaten or fall,
Right.
or some woman
Right.
don't talk to you no more, you can sit down. You start looking at one person you got to look at. You.
Yourself. That's right.
Because there's no separation. I'm you, I'm you, I'm you, I'm everybody. We are but one person, and that's Allah, that's God. We are different aspects of that one consciousness. That's so that when they learn that and they start applying it,
Man.
then it changes.
Yes.
It don't change the world, but it changes our world. And if we change our world, we can change your world, because we're gonna start, and you're gonna give me what you need. I need something from you. Just because you got a divine knowledge, that don't mean you know everything.
That's right.
Everybody can teach you.
That's right.
Everybody is your teacher.
Everybody is your teacher. And so we learn like this, it's one. See, they say Christ is one. Yeah, one mind belongs to the Father and Mother. I say Father and Mother. Everybody don't like that. But I know if Father and Mother's here, it's also there. As above, so below.
That's right. Same male-female principles.
So male, female principle. This is how we work.
So hundreds of children. You've
Yes.
talked to hundreds of children
Yeah.
over the time, right?
Yeah,
Men,
hundreds.
boys and girls?
Yeah, I had a girl. We had, yeah, I had a girl.
Well, what happened was after we had, just got through the rhetoric of just building and just talking, it got to a point to whereas, we needed a doctrine. We needed something tangible that we could study. Therefore, we can create the dialogue study course, and then we came up with the 22.
22 lessons.
The 22 lessons. And the
That
22
was it.
lessons is this book right here, which is compiled up of a lot of different lessons with a lot of fat trimmed off of it, so it can get you to your spiritual point of knowing who you are, knowing who God is, knowing your relationship to the universe, your purpose. This is a course that we put together that will sink you in with your divine purpose, if applied correctly. It's just like with anything. We could be the doctors, but you got to take the medicine or take the pill and apply that to your world and your consciousness. Therefore, you'll unfold like a flower. You'll see. It'll happen if you if you take the time and build with it. And then from there, it went from the 22 to the Kabbalah. So then we got the Kabbalah. I mean, like the real Kabbalah, the actual application, the burn sacrifice, what it talks about in the ancient scripts in the Bible and all of that. Moses, 12, the breastplate, 12 Jews, the robes, and put them on, and all of that. We were blessed to run into some brothers who knew this. So as the Tantra came in, we stacking them. It's just, and so as we are acquiring this knowledge, we had this rap group called 5 ELA, which consisted of myself, Mudd, Thyme, and Proof, who is of the deceased and of that, D12 fame and the Eminem story. I'm sure y'all familiar with 8 Ball movie.
Yeah.
So that brother is an original member of our order. So, of course, we know Eminem, Jay Dilla, who is a world-renowned producer. Didn't stay too far from here, right up Nevada.
Right in his house.
Right in his house.
As a child.
You got Slum Village. A lot of the, by 10. A lot of people saw him wearing a turban and speaking on that knowledge, that aspect right here. These are our brothers in arms who learned from this brother. Like, this is, So anything that you see as far as the Detroit hip-hop and that love and the consciousness and what that music was, that soul sound.
That neo-soul, they call it.
The neo-soul, that is an involvement in a collective of our brotherhood. And all of us were learning here, taking the knowledge of frequency, sound, meditation, love, and that's why you hear so much love in a lot of that music.
When everything was over, it was just over.
Right.
You just stop and everybody go their ways to take what they got.
Right.
And to test it.
Right.
See, so
we recruited nobody.
Right.
These were all people who would just see us places and be like.
So you would have like the hip hop
What's
shop,
up with you?
Or you would have
something about you.
St. Andrews,
I'm like
Hall, all of that hip hop scene and all what they talk about.
Circle here, man.
That was us in a lot of these different places that caused, like for instance, brothers and sisters didn't hug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At one point of time, if brothers hugged, it was a, what's up, dog? Or, you know, and
We
just
brought
our embrace.
Yep.
Like when we first saw you, that's a hug we have been doing for over 20-something years.
Yeah, we brought that to the
and
whole,
brought that to a community of
and
brothers and sisters.
And then it went from here, New
all
York,
over the country.
Yeah, and we was like, wow.
Look at that, like,
And
and that's
weren't
just an
even touching
example
each other.
of the love, the sound, the music, our topics in which we talked about became national trends. The Roots, Erykah Badu, Common, all these brothers came from wherever they was at to commute with us and build with us. So we hand to hand have met and know these brothers who, came here looking for that neo soul love sound. It's something that a lot of people don't know.
So, right now, are you guys performing in a band?
Wow. Right now, we have, first of all, I don't even know how to explain it, but we the ego removed, we're the coldest cats walking, period. Period in the story.
I believe that.
And that is proof because nobody wants to deal with us because they already know right off the rip where we going and what we about. So, we have our movement. It's called Starfleet. Pretty much, that's about everything that's ascending. You know what I mean? It's not some wild concept or whatever. It's about ascending. So it's Starfleet. Shine on. Get your shine on. You know what I mean? Be the you that you was created to be.
Because everybody's a star.
That's right.
We look at it like, Hollywood wants to take you and give you that star on the ground.
Put you on the ground.
Put
You
you on
already
the
a star.
pentagram. But the reality is you got 5 points on your body. That's the interlocking. That's the same 5 principles, same 5 elements, same 5 from the Jackson 5, as natural as 5 is to 5, with 5 limbs and all. It's all divine.
Right.
Man being created on the 5th day. Same thing. It's all natural.
You said you had this movement. Is it Detroit movement or this neighborhood?
It was Detroit up until
like last week.
Yeah. And then we found out a lot of people everywhere was feeling what we was doing. You know what I mean? Because we had a distribution situation. We recorded the album. It's called Global Warming 2022. And the 2022 is 22 lessons. And pretty much with the music, we found a new formula to create the music where we give information and application, but make it dope and sweet and fun and live, not where it's like somebody bogging you down with a bunch of information.
As well as sexy. You got to experience sexy too.
Because that's usually how it's done. People, when they giving you this information, you kind of like, oh man, this dude.
Preaching to the
You know what I'm saying? Nah, this is all live music. You know what I mean? It's all the music is original. You know what I mean? We got all types of musicians on it. Singers. I mean, it's
basically that same Detroit sound. Like if you could take the neo soul, the best, the funk, gotta have the funk.
Yep.
It's got the blues. It's definitely got the gospel. It's got the Detroit Rock City on it.
We found a way to mash all of that,
as well as the techno.
Yes, and the techno.
Okay.
And turn that into a sound.
We're all extraterrestrial beings. I leave my body at night for sightseeing. I do it frequent, based on the frequencies of this light body. I can make an army and transform them a hobby. Aren't we what life is made of? I don't have to turn blind to go Super Saiyan. I'm just saying, the secrets are in us. You can read all you want, but if you're never quiet, you'll never find it. Calm that riot inside you. The Melchizedek will come and guide you to a place so beautiful you may not want to return. But this is our test on earth. Carry on. Live your life in service. Give till you can't give no more, then give some more. It's worth it. The planets are aligned. It's now set up for each one of us to shine and shine on. Become what you were made to be. Show these other worlds you are much more than an earthling, much more than an experiment gone bad. You're looking at the crown achievement of believing. This is our season, ready, willing, and able. Locked up with Zaza, we move to the A room. No more playing, the clock's done ticking. Can't board the ship while it's lifting. Starfleet, shine on.
As far as controlling our own media, our own voice, and allowing what we want to be said to the world versus, you know, everybody else having their perception of what they think this is, or, oh, them guys are from the, you know, whatever, or, you know, people sometimes when you tell them your history, they have this perception of you weren't good enough, or you didn't make it, or
right. We
you
had
know what
3
I mean?
multi-million-dollar deals on the table,
and it's just like our brother. We turned them down.
Tight.
We walked away from it. It was a situation.
It was really
where,
they wanted everything.
Yeah.
So it was like, nah.
No, thank you. So, you know, just for the record, we conceded because we knew that, you know, the deals that they were offering us wasn't anything beneficial to our souls. It didn't have no love in it. So how could we reciprocate or do what we love to do when you're in a contract and somebody telling you gotta dress up like this, or, you know, it's just all about control.
See, none of this matter. That's why you can do it. If it mattered, then you messed up.
You won't be able to do it. You'll be
Right.
too attached to it.
Yeah.
Your whole process is to do your work.
Yep.
Right.
And if it's divine, it's gonna get done.
I got
That's
you.
what they know.
So how can you take what you know, and I guess we call it in politics, make it scalable, you know, so that like people, you know, many people get introduced to the wisdom and really try to create transformation, because ultimately you're talking about transformation. How do we transform ourselves, the city, country, the world, because it's crying out for transformation.
It is, but
It
you
is.
have to understand
Yeah.
something also too.
Yeah.
It's so personal.
Yes.
Like I said, we didn't recruit anybody. We had 500 some odd people come through here. Not one of them did we walk up to and ask them did they want anything.
Right.
They all saw us somewhere
It was
doing
energy
something
or a certain
and said,
Light.
you.
if you
Right.
The only reason we haven't moved beyond to a larger scale was because while all of that was happening musically in our lives, we stepped back. Let that play itself out as it has done. All those stories have played themselves out, and now we're in a different place. Like I said, our movement, Starfleet. We got people all the way in Australia sending us pictures with the 5 up, and they want to know, what is it? We know the second we step on the scene in that capacity, then they're going to ask the same way they did before.
Right.
But guess what? We have a program for them when they ask. This is what I did to become the person that I am. You can do that also. We're not really here to preach a doctrine to the world.
No.
If you feel in yourself that you need to change yourself, because that's the only person you can change. I can't change you. I can't change him. Can't change him.
preach on the
Change
mountain
yourself.
forever. And
When you decide, like the people, when they decide that there's going to be a change, they don't have to hear one word that I'm saying.
Right.
This place is going to change.
See what's lacking in the world, this whole world, is love.
Love.
See,
love.
love. See,
definitely.
that's what's lacking.
And we're going to bring
The
that.
people who can express love beyond, with no reservations.
Right. Excuse me, brother. Let me say something. You know what people say to us when they see us? They say, man, you look so good. You still here. You still with your brother?
Yeah.
These people don't even talk to the people they came up with.
And
Me and
they
this
say,
guy.
y'all still together?
Exactly. Love.
What? Ain't nothing
Love.
came. They didn't get y'all and come in and do the whatever they.
The divide and conquer and the whole.
Y'all survived that?
Y'all survived.
What? Y'all
Love.
didn't go in. Y'all didn't want none of that money and none of the.
Love.
You didn't love for self. Like, how I'm
Love
gonna take
for
this
self.
deal when I know that's my demise? You know, how can I be
How
something
can
that
we?
I'm not?
How can we
Because
then take that,
some paper?
move to the next level, and lead people
Right.
in the wrong direction? Because that's what you're gonna be there to do. Because you're not gonna be able to live any of that you're talking about.
That's right.
You feel me? So it's the love. The love for, what we learn and the people around. We accept that we lights of that, and we be that every time we leave our houses or in our homes. We're
And
there
don't
all
cut
the
off.
time. Right.
That's the thing about the glory of God and turning that love light on. Is once it's on,
Right.
any day you don't shine or you lesser your light, you bullshit.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and
You can
being
talk it,
it,
but you gotta walk
that
it.
allows truth to come in.
Yeah.
So once the truth, and you become that
Yeah.
walking example of what the truth is, the truth of a man, because you out here, you loving. People see you going through adversity. People watch. You know, you got so many different people watching you, and they watch you at your best, at your worst. Did you stay humble? Did you get some money and start acting a fool? Or, you know, what did you do?
Right.
How did you demonstrate that love or that truth? And with our whole movement and our whole belief system, our faith, if that's what you want to call it, that love and that truth allows us to become free people, free thinkers. That's where the freedom comes in. Once the freedom is in, I feel comfortable in my own skin, loving my brothers, hugging my you know, it's a certain peace.
You turn down a few $1 million a few times, you feel like you nothing matters after that.
Yeah, right. And then you develop this certain inner sense of peace. You know that because you know it ain't
like,
nothing real.
I ain't worried about that.
Right.
I could have been doing that.
Once it'll come again.
You feel me?
It's like that.
Check it out. We were omegas to these alphas. Now we alpha alphas. Perfecting the outcome. We the ancient aliens. Extraterrestrials. Vibes double hetero. Food check my chromosomes. More than metaphysical. Elemental interdimensional precedent. We have issue with this planet and this bullshit. Oh. Corrupt government. Serve government without word about punishment. When we waste our time in Somerset, we are the emergence of a version in its best. We are human spot with check the stars on my chest. Or the orbs on my breast, not this rock. Victory. 5 elements who make history.
How do you feel about race relations? I mean, does it matter to you to have more, you know, basic people in the white community care about what's happening?
I think as far as race relations, like I don't like to look at people as like race. I like to say that there's only one race and that's human. Everything else is just nationalities, ethnicities, different cultures that, you know, we have that we're still ignorant of pretty much. That's why we still, you know, have this prejudice or this ignorance. I think that as far as Detroit is concerned, it's important that the cultures come out because there's only one race of people, period. I think it's the separation that keeps us ignorant.
Well, you know, bro, the book says, God said, I made you of different tribes and different colors, not so you will fight, but so you can learn from each other. Instead of learn to love instead of hate.
That's right.
So this is a whole process. We have not learned how to love.
Yep.
So it's not about the race. It's about our mentalities.
Right.
Yep.
It's about mentality. It's not about I don't see no color, really.
Me neither.
The only time I see a color when they put me in jail and call me a nigga, then I know something wrong. Right. I know it ain't right.
They never lied.
You know, the first time I knew racism, the first time, I was in the Army, and I was in Kentucky. And I had to go to the restroom. I had a uniform on. It said white male, white female. It had a sign that said colored around the corner.
In the Army.
So I went around the corner. I wasn't going in there. I wouldn't stand here and urinate in there.
Wow.
So I went into the European white male, and in 5 minutes, it was so many police sitting there throwing me out. That was very, very terrible. I was outdone. I had never felt it before in my life. I had never been, that was just unbelievable. Hey, I'm fighting for a country. I'm going to go die, and they throw me at the bath. I can't take a leak.
Right.
I mean, what
Yeah.
mind?
Right.
I couldn't understand it.
Right.
So I made a promise to them. I don't respect them. I'm not saluting. That's what I did. That's all I could do. Was rebel,
Right.
not respecting. So it's here. Racism been here. How do you deal with it? Head up. I walked in the fire, I was a fireman, walked in the fire department, and this is a real story. When I walked in, I had all my gear.
Right.
The doors opened up. It's on Hilldale and Ryan. Dude came out with a sock. The captain came out with a sock with something in it.
Right.
I'm still looking, and here's all the Europeans on the side smiling. Then he said, turn the sock upside down, a .357 Magnum, damn you about the sock. I wasn't no child. I was 26 years old. Mm-hmm. I was a warrior. I said, sir, I would take that gun that you just strapped in your hand, I would stick it up your behind and blow your brains out. And all the smiles stopped. Everything changed. I got respect. Because I'm not afraid. Because I always knew that my father had me.
Right.
So I walked in, and then within weeks, I was a hero. They loved me. Because why? I put the fires out.
Right.
I did my job. I did the best I could do it, and then everybody knew who was in the fire. I was in the fire. So I find racism is when once you show people that you do your job, you ain't crying, that you're professional, they respect you. That's what I've learned about everybody. So all I do is do the best I can and live up to who I am and what I am. I have no problem with nobody. They may have a problem at first, because I don't bite my tongue. But when they find out that I'm serious and I die for what I believe in, then we don't even ground.
We won't even ground.
That's right.
That's right.
So I don't have that problem no more. I never had it really, because I always head on to it. I didn't run from it. You know, so the whole process is like this city. It don't matter. God got it. And we were in, right?
That's right.
And now we gotta do is be there. Be there. Be with the Father. If you believe that. If not, then be with what's right. And it'll all work out. That's how I tell them. Be right. Don't sell yourself out for no money. That's gonna die and fade away. You gotta look at the children and your whole race of people. What did you do? And that's what I was afraid of. Bruh, that's the one thing I was afraid of. I was afraid of my son coming to me and saying, Daddy, what did you do? I said, I gotta do something. I can't stand that kind of pressure. But my son asking me, what did I do? And I'm out here playing with these women, smoking weed, acting the fool. And he need me for direction. No, we gotta be the priests. We got to be the examples. And that's how I feel about all of this. I'm the example. You the example. When you know the example, that means you know everywhere you go, you have to be one with the Creator. And that's how they walk.
Yes, sir.
If we don't do that, we fall in the same trap with everybody else. Running for money.
Do you think people in Detroit, I'm sure you've been talking to people who basically don't agree or reject it, or they don't really hear the message that you're saying? How do you respond to your friends or
It's okay.
cousins or whoever just won't hear it?
Well,
First of all, we don't push anything on anybody. That's first of all, like, you know, we
Be examples.
we
that's
just
the
be
only thing you
examples.
really can
We
be.
never approach anybody like, listen, this is what I'm doing, or you need to do this, or nah. Everybody is exactly where they need to be
at the time.
And when they see you, if your example impresses upon them to move in a different way, then it'll happen. If not, leave them alone. Because the reality is,
they gotta do what they gotta do.
Yeah, they have to do what they have to do, and they'll move when they want to. You know what I mean?
But you had that situation where it's like communicating the truth. You have to be very sensitive when you communicating the truth. They could rebel, push it away, call you crazy. Maybe they might blow a gasket or end up in a mental hospital because of something that they're struggling with. So it's not like a situation where we're around here and we just trying to snatch people out of the matrix. If there's people that's willing to ask and they come, they gonna come. That's the people we'll see you. We don't have to ask you to come here, just like how we met. It's just certain things that just manifest. It's an energy. It's a I know you, brother, from somewhere, but I never met you before. Sis, I know you from somewhere, but I can't figure it out. But hey, we know we've been here, and we know that this is a unity. This is a spiritual thing. It's not so much as a going out and trying to preach or get on a mountain to Martin Luther King. We already know what happens with that. CIA, FBI come in and kill you. You know what I mean? So this is not a situation where we're trying to get on a soapbox,
right,
and try to preach and say follow us or donate to us. This is a hey,
government
man,
ain't this, the government ain't that.
Yeah,
right.
It's,
we ain't no soapbox.
Yeah, it's about you recognizing that you are the problem and you're also the solution. It's all a matter of how you view it and your choices in life. You could be the devil if you choose to, and you can be God if you choose to.
But does that mean that you don't get involved in political organizing? Or...
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the politics is concerned, like the political view that we pretty much have is, we look at politics like we have to be politically astute. And in being politically astute, we have come across the self-realization that we are Moors and that we are the original landholders of this land. Now, if somebody really wants to talk about real politics, business, or how a government should be ran, we come with these divine principles. We can talk that. We're ready to build with that. It's just, are people willing to take us seriously and listen? You know what I mean? And take heed.
My sister, this political system is so corrupt. You can't do nothing in it. There's nothing you can't change this. You cannot change people who are living off of the lobbyists. That's the first thing they should get rid of, the lobbyists.
Right.
Because nobody's fighting for the people.
Right. It's all
They
money.
fighting for the corporations.
It's all corporate.
And if you get in there and start talking like this, you'll be dead tomorrow.
That's right.
So why I'm gonna go somewhere where I'm not wanted? When I could create a spiritual organization that's all the power in the world. It's just about power. It's about knowing that they have no power. Take the guns away.
Take the lies away. What else you got?
The lies.
It'll be over overnight.
So we know the political system is, guess what? It's an illusion.
And a joke. A cruel joke.
So why am I going to waste my time in something that's so corrupt? All I can do is go in there and get myself shot. It don't make no sense. So we stay here. You here, right?
Yeah.
You'll see some light. I see light in you. So we start. One day, just through this right here, the whole world may change. We don't know. But we're about love, truth,
That's the main thing.
peace, freedom, and justice. What other principles do we need?
If my pen could bleed, this verse would be rock queens. Krainz Woods, hood Uzzi's coming like young Mike Jack starting something. Off the wall for all of y'all, insane with the flow. Man, if you know, then you been new. Let's get down to the issues. Barack need to step down to that mud, accept the crown, so I can put the White House on 7 Mile and Mound. I was founded in Motown, provided a dope sound, so profile, cut throat style. Mud hole on your couch, duct tape in your mouth. Now we somewhere down south. That boy is gone in the zone, clear and blow. Look at that beard he throw. Lo and behold, another episode is told. For Krishna to the listener, pay attention, bro. Situate yourself, meditate on levels higher. Find the Christ inside you. Ride the grid, defy the lid. Don't let it hold it in as I hold the pen. I'm an older man, recognize the soul within. I'm coasting in. I am what you supposed to be. I know no sin. The flow is unknown to men. I'm grown, so I know I can pick myself up and begin again. And then
It's the wrath of Thyme. We do it like eclipse, till the casket drops. Fulfill your dreams like the Wizard of Oz. I swear I pray to God that we never gon' pop. Whenever we stop, remember we rocked out. Just call us the Grateful Dead or do me a favor and carry my corpse out. Protect me from the demons and warlocks. Boy, I got more scrolls than burns to keep the door locked. With more knock than knocks or octagons, whatever set fine beyond. Rock to the rhythm of the metronome. Play or go home. That time's over there, attack down still. With razors and notes, they lame and they know it. Stamp olive on their head and watch them explode. It's the rain that attack 9, slave to the drum and bass line. They can't replace Thyme and Mud with diamonds and pearls. My DJ goes world to world on a worldwide tear. Visions are all I am, doing all I can. Worldwide riots is the anthem and then.
Five elements.